Coming up on The Arts Connection, we learn the lifelong secrets of everyday people through an exhibit called Post Secret. Plus, we step inside the closet of one of Orlando's most fashionable art donors.
I'm not showing my clothes. It's embarrassing. It's not my style. Like I said, I'm trying to keep a low profile here.
And we rock out with a local band singing to a higher power. All that and more just ahead on The Arts Connection.
The Arts Connection is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to WMFE from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to The Arts Connection, your program about all things creative here in Central Florida. I'm Cecily Wilson and we're in Melbourne this week at the Brevard Art Museum, and boy, what a treat. They have traveling exhibits, permanent exhibits, one of them called Post Secret. It's all about the secrets shared on artistically decorated postcards by more than 150,000 people to date. We'll learn more about that as well as many other opportunities the museum has to offer in just a bit. But first, what do you call a woman with a passion for shopping and the natural talent for combining both current and vintage fashion trends? Two words, Harriet Lake. And an exhibition in Orlando is celebrating this unique local legend. She's donated millions of dollars to the arts in Central Florida, but Harriet Lake is as well known for her fashion sense as her philanthropy.
Look, I don't know what style is. I only know it when I see it. My style is over the top. I admit it.
Now her over-the-top style is being showcased at Orlando's Manello Museum of American Art. Her haute couture collection is part of an exhibit appropriately named Harriet's Closet. Now, to begin with, she was reluctant to throw open her closet doors.
I'm not showing my clothes. It's embarrassing. It's not my style. Like I said, I'm trying to keep a low profile here.
It might be kind of hard for Harriet Lake to keep a low profile. I mean, she is one of Orlando's best-known philanthropists and fashionistas.
It only takes one or two really dedicated, committed people to change the world. And that's how I feel about charity. You start somewhere. You either lead, you follow, or you get the hell out of the way, but you start with yourself.
Despite the size of this exhibition, it's just a fraction of what's in her real closet in her Longwood home.
How many things do I have? I don't know. My closet is 38 by 18. It's got 2 conveyor belts.
At the Manello, you can get a glimpse of what slides across those conveyor belts up close and personal. The new exhibit is a first for the museum and maybe even for Central Florida, says Museum Director Frank Holt.
Before, I think we've been known for showing the paintings of Earl Cunningham, which of course we always feature, and then bringing in exhibits of art by other artists. But this kind of takes us to a little bit different level. And I can't remember that there is a museum in Central Florida that's done this kind of exhibit in the past 10 years.
When we started thinking about who we could bring into our museum and have something totally different, realizing that Harriet is still with us, and the retrospectives that we've seen in the past, such as Jacqueline Onassis and Grace Kelly and Princess Di, these ladies are no longer with us. Our goal was to give a reflection on who Harriet is, and also to make a presentation in the museum that her clothes are actually a form of art and not just clothes.
So how was Harriet able to reach the ranks of those iconic names? Simply because of her love and dedication to the arts. She and her husband are no strangers to giving to organizations like the Orlando Ballet.
We are so lucky to have this going on in this town, and it's killing me, it's destroying me that all of those seats are not filled, especially for the ballet, which is the one art form that I will never let them go down. I would bail out to the death the ballet.
She is a giver. and she does not like any of the limelight on her. And so this is going to be a new awakening for her also, to let her know that everyone wants to thank her at the same time. So we are honoring her, but we are so honored to have this exhibit here.
And now on display as art are heavy hitters like Chanel, Andrea Landau, jewel-encrusted handbags by Judith Lieber, and plenty of bling.
To me, a dress is nothing without the jewelry.
There are beads, jewels, and Mongolian fur. Every piece a fashion statement.
My theory is too much is not enough. So and that's the way I dress, and that's the way my house is.
Lake stops short of admitting her avant-garde wardrobe is worthy of museum status.
I never thought of it as art, but I guess it's called art to wear. If you consider this art, I mean, there are some people that wouldn't be caught dead in this stuff.
And some people wouldn't have the confidence or the means to wear something like this.
Like that dress from 1950. I just can't imagine tossing that. I mean, that would be ridiculous because I can still wear it.
So this exhibit gives them a chance to get as close as possible to the fun of high fashion for a fraction of the cost.
If clothes aren't fun, you're just not picking the right stuff. They should be fun and they should be comfortable. Those are the two rules for me. I don't care about the rest of the population.
You can step into Harriet's closet at the Manello Museum until June 8th. Well, up next, when stories come alive on stage, we immerse ourselves in the magic, not often thinking about where the stories come from. Well, obviously, it begins with the written word, the works of the playwright. In Orlando, there's an organization dedicated to the contributions of women playwrights. What do The Lion King, Vagina Monologues, Menopause the Musical, and Swimming After Dark all have in common?
Swimming After Dark? Is this the original manuscript?
They're all plays written and or directed by women. But they're the exception. Female playwrights and directors are far outnumbered by their male counterparts, says an Orlando expert.
We as a theater community must be concerned about diversity and about inclusion, and without women, both of those are missing.
It's this sense of gender inequity that prompted Orlando's Linda Michael, a playwright herself, to form WPI, Women Playwrights Initiative, in 2003. Its mission is to make sure the voices of women playwrights are heard on stage.
Would you think I'm crazy if I told you that sometimes I think this house may be haunted?
And so we started asking, can you remember the last play you saw written by a woman? Now, when we started this in 2004, there was a high number, like 82%, that could not. I'm pleased to say that because of our awareness, we like to think we brought some awareness to the table, that number is improved greatly.
Michael says this season, Central Florida audiences will see more plays written by women than any season since WPI started. Swimming After Dark is the latest, soon to take the stage at Rollins College.
I think a house remembers the patterns of life long after the people are gone. You have to tear it down to get rid of the stain.
And it's being directed by, you guessed it, another Orlando woman, Jennifer Kavanaugh.
The glass is coming back, coming around, and then that'll take us right into the monologue. Does that work for you?
It works for me.
Excellent. As a director, I think you're very much responsible for stage picture. You're responsible for what it is visually that the audience is experiencing, and that has to do with how the actors move. It has to do with the designs, the choices that the lighting designer makes.
Swimming After Dark is billed as a bittersweet tale of love and literary intrigue. It was penned by a Virginia woman who won WPI's short play competition.
Something is missing.
Kavanaugh and Michael both say prompting the work of women playwrights is vital to the world of theater.
Our voices, our stories are unique. Well, truly, all people's stories are unique. But women tell stories differently. A story told from a woman's perspective is going to sound different, it's going to play differently on the stage, and it's going to have different memories.
For many years, the stories of women and women's experiences have not been considered important to everybody. The thought would be, well, it's a woman's play, maybe women will be interested. But you know, who else is going to be interested? Well, we're all expected to be interested in Death of a Salesman. We're all expected to be interested in much of the canon, which focuses on the story of men as action, as heroes.
For actors like Courtney Barr, plays written by women provide a greater variety of roles for women.
For me, when I go to audition for something, there's maybe 2 or 3 characters that I could possibly play. Whereas in a man's piece, a piece written by a man, there might be maybe 1 or 2. But I think that women tend to take greater risks when they do get something produced. They do something new. They do something that really relates and really connects.
And according to theater insiders, what really connects is a well-written, well-crafted script, one that's had its fair share of tabletop readings. Budding writers, take note.
There could be a process of inviting your actor friends over and serving them some coffee and donuts or coffee and fruit and saying, I need to hear this play, after you've got what you think is a good first draft. Then you could go public once you've made those revisions. By now you've climbed a ladder of, let's call it creative excellence, and you're getting the kind of feedback that you need in order to make the script better. That's the whole point, to make good scripts better.
And to make the future better for women playwrights and directors. Swimming After Dark runs May 28th through June 1st. For more information on the play and more information about the Women Playwrights Initiative, log on to our website. Again, we're at the Brevard Art Museum in Melbourne, and it's been playing a creative role in the community for 30 years. Joining me now is the CEO, Carl Hollander. And Carl, that is a long time to be doing something very creative. Tell us about that.
Well, thanks. It is a long time, and we're very proud of it. The museum has made a great many changes in those years, but we're more proud of the accomplishments that we've had. We have developed a collection of over 3,000 pieces in our permanent collection and have a full exhibit schedule plus a museum school with spaces that the community can use for meeting space.
Let's talk about some of those exhibits. You have one going on right now, Post Secret. Tell us about that.
Post Secret was an exhibit that was started by Frank Warren in 2004 when he asked some 3,000 people to send him postcards with an anonymous secret that they had never told anyone else. He got 150,000 postcards. The exhibit we have up now is about 2 days worth of the postcards that he receives. There are some 400 in the show that is around it.
Now, Carl, this has been so successful, he's even written a book about it.
He, in fact, has written 4 books about it. Post Secret, the first book, is what this exhibition is based on.
So how does this tie into your overall theme?
Well, each year we choose a theme, and our curator, Jackie Borshani, works that theme through each of the exhibitions we have. And this year it has to do with content. In other words, what an artist is saying, giving meaning to the art that you're looking at.
Well, there's certainly a lot to look at here. We appreciate your time shared with us. And of course, if you'd like more information on the exhibit, Post Secret, or the museum, simply check out our website at wmfe.org/arts. Central Florida is jam-packed with opportunities to hear choirs, bands, and orchestras, but some Central Floridians in the know don't head to the typical venues to catch live entertainment. They make a space of their own.
It's a typical Friday night in Winter Park. But inside the home of Bruce and Sharon Hartman, it's anything but typical.
We're having a house concert with Larry Unger and Eda McAdams Summer.
It's a night out. That's also a night in. A house party turned concert series, all part of a growing underground music circuit here in Central Florida.
I think we've had about a half a dozen here over the last couple, 3 years, and it happens all over Central Florida. It actually happens all over the United States. It's a phenomenon that's not well known, but is actually pretty widespread.
Widespread and part of a great tradition. House concerts just like this one have been rocking out homes for centuries.
Back in the old days before we had televisions and YouTube and things, people would often entertain themselves with music at night. So that could be a regular basis, or like the salons that Schubert, used to have in his living room. Same kind of thing.
And while you might not get an invite to Schubert's place anytime soon, the crowds are proof that the music can bring modern communities together.
Anybody can come. We met the most interesting people from, the last time we were here, we met a woman who wrestled alligators, okay? And There's lawyers and nurses and a lot of computer programmers, there's anybody.
Well, it's surprising. I mean, there is a big cross culture of folks here, and Orlando's kept growing, and it has attracted people from all over the U.S.
The way it works is pretty simple. Host book a band and spread the word by posting details on a folk music website. And anyone's welcome, whether it's to jam along, dance, or just sit back and enjoy.
Music certainly can help build a community because some people get involved with the music or the dancing and it changes their life. They start doing that a lot and they meet people they never would have met, and those people who are not necessarily neighbors or wouldn't know each other, they gather together like events like tonight at the house concert. But the most important thing is the community that gathers out of that.
It's not only a great way of listening to music, the bands themselves say the intimate setting makes for a unique experience for musicians too.
Makes for a very nice venue. It makes for a very relaxed and comfortable place where you can come in and get to talk to people and sit and listen to some very good music and mix real well, rather than in a theater or a concert hall where you don't really get to talk to each other very much.
Tonight we're going to play everything from Celtic to old time to blues and jazz, swing, Romanian, some originals, and a few other things.
Not only is it more than just folk music, it's a celebration of folk culture.
But absolutely, we're the most welcoming, warm people in the world.
Folk culture, that's supposedly of the people, and it's more like, as opposed to classical music, everything's written down, and most folk music is passed down orally.
So, from home to home and concert to concert, songs are passed along, preserving a little piece of history in the folk tradition. But they don't do it alone. They do have the support of groups like the Central Florida Folk to help spread the word.
It's been in existence for probably 20 years in this area. We have 13 concerts a year at Lou Gardens, the last Sunday of the month. We have local artists. We have people coming from all over the country. And then we also have free concerts at Langford Park, which are sponsored 6 times a year by the City of Orlando.
You get into any one of those events, you follow the thread and your interest can take you where you want to go.
And whether your interests have you dancing, singing, playing, or just taking it all in, this Central Florida underground music scene is something to check out.
And in case you're wondering, these events are an invite only, and you don't have to be a part of a special club to find out about them. Just simply log on to our website and click on the links. Well, speaking of music, a Christian rock group has taken over the music scene with 3 #1 hits in only 2 years. Kristen Kinney caught up with the local stars in their hometown of Eustis.
It was 6 years ago when Christian rock group Fireflight first took the stage here at the Bandshell in downtown Eustis.
This goes way back.
We were not making good music when we played here.
Today, it's a different story. As this small-town band climbs to the top of the charts yet again with their sophomore album, Unbreakable.
Like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. Kind of like a freak out moment, for real.
We all dreamed about it. I mean, at least for me, I never really thought of the actual reality of it actually happening. So to be here now is very surreal.
Now they're one of the hottest names in Christian rock, performing 200 shows a year. And on their cross-country tour, they made a quick stop here, their home, Eustis, to reflect on how it all happened.
Yeah, this is about what it looked like.
Yep.
There's a sound system.
There's a lot of memories here today.
Lead singer Don Richardson and guitarists Justin Cox and Glenn Drennan once walked the halls of Eustis High School together.
Glenn never talked. He just always, like, I forgot that he was in my Spanish class until he reminded me, actually, because that's how quiet he was.
And he is not.
And I'm not quiet.
That's why I remember that he was in my Spanish class.
But it wasn't until after high school in 1999 when the band took shape.
Glenn and I were married, so obviously we were already an in. Glenn asked Justin if he wanted to start playing, and then of course Dawn, we had heard her sing at his brother's graduation service, and we're just blown away by her voice. And she also went to the church that Glenn and I went to at the time.
So what about drummer Fee Shorb? Well, he comes in a little later. So to start, it's Wendy on bass, Glenn and Justin on the guitar, and Dawn lead vocals.
They came up to me and they said, "Do you want to be in the band?" And I was like, "Well, only if we're going to sing Christian songs."
Their shared faith was the inspiration for the direction their music would take.
We asked God, "Make these your songs. We want your message."
Their first onstage performance, just a mile down the road at First Baptist Church.
That's actually a funny story because about 10 minutes before we were supposed to go out and play, our youth pastor walks in and he goes, "Okay, what am I supposed to tell him? What's your name?" And we're like, and we realized we had forgotten to discuss that. And we were all supposed to be thinking about things, but we hadn't talked about it at all. So we didn't have very much to go on. And I just said, well, I thought earlier this week, I thought Fireflight sounded kind of cool. And they're like, yeah, let's just go with that.
Fireflight soon became a regional name, taking the stage at venues across Central Florida and catching the attention of drummer Fee Shorb.
And I was actually playing at a venue in my hometown in Ocala with my church praise band, and they were on that show. As the show ended and we were packing up and going home, I told the director of that venue, "Man, this band is awesome, but they just need a new drummer." And it wasn't maybe just a matter of months after God really spoke to me and told me that I was going to find a band and I was going to hook up with them and it was going to go far.
And it wasn't just the band members who thought they would go far.
These guys from the very beginning, their sound and their heart, you know, pretty much captured me.
Les Williams has been their #1 fan since their humble beginnings.
We call Les the prophet because back, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago when we played this show in New Smyrna Beach.
Tiny little beach house. It was actually like for real a house with a stage in it.
He came up to us afterwards and was like, you guys, you're gonna
And
do it.
he's just smiling, this angelic smile the whole time.
And they did it. After 6 years of venue hopping, Fireflight was signed by Sony BMG's Flicker Records in 2005.
I was kind of dumbfounded in a sense, but I wasn't, you know. I knew that these guys had something.
Hey, man.
Their music has touched their fans with words of hope and inspiration.
With our first album, we really discussed a lot of, dark topics and, intense subjects. And we wanted to do the same with this album, but we really wanted to make a focus on bringing hope to the people who are listening. Not just that they can find healing from the hard times they're facing, but that there's like victory. And there's like a whole new life once you're able to leave behind the things that hold you back from your past.
Forget the fear, it's just the crutch that tries to hold you back and turn your dreams to dust. All you need to do is just try.
Now with thousands of fans and 2 hit albums, they certainly have something. It's called rock star status. So what's the life of a rock star like? Let's go sneak a peek. Come on, let's go.
Here we are in our beautiful RV, thanks to our fans. And this will be our episode of Cribs for Fireflight. And this right here is our living room.
Insert hip-hop music here.
Yeah. This is our dining room right here. Fee's enjoying sitting at our beautiful table, which also converts to a bed. Dun, dun, dun. And then we have our lovely kitchen. It's empty. Oh. But we've been off the road for almost a week now, so we have to clean it out when we leave so it doesn't get gross. This is where we watch the DVDs. All right, another entertainment center. And that's basically it. This is our home.
So it's time to say farewell to their hometown and hello to their new humble abode as Fireflight hits the road for yet another show.
We're from a small town, we're a bunch of nobodies, but we've just really trusted God and just really put ourselves out there, and we're fulfilling our wildest dreams.
What a great success story. You can find more about their tour dates by logging onto our website. You'll also find heart-wrenching stories from fans about how the Fireflight album has impacted their lives. Well, we have just a few minutes to tell you a few tidbits about some of the things going on around Central Florida. In Leesburg, check out the Girls Next Door exhibit at the Leesburg Center for the Arts. This all-female exhibit features local artists including Glenda Dupuis, Sean Gray, and Yvonne Fevalier, now showing through May 31st. Well, baseball fans, get ready for the popular comedy Bleacher Bums. It's the comedy exposing America's obsession with baseball, presented by the Theater Downtown and now showing through May 31st. And let's be frank, at Millennia Fine Art with the Terry O'Neill exhibit of Frank Sinatra photography now showing through July 17th. As the official photographer for the British royal family, Terry gained access to top celebrities and is now sharing it all with you. Call 407-304-8100 for more information. Well, that wraps it for us here on the Arts Connection. We certainly hope you have enjoyed our program. Don't forget to check us out on the web at wmfe.org/arts. You can send us your ideas there. Check out the podcast. And don't forget Becky Morgan on the radio at 90.7 FM with the Arts Connection radio program. We appreciate you watching. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Please join me next time when we visit some of our favorite Central Florida landmarks. We two-step into the newly renovated Cheyenne Saloon in downtown Orlando.
I just hope the people out there that experienced it before will grace us again and come see us again.
Then grab a seat as we go back in time at Garden Theater.
We're really offering a unique experience in West Orange County. There is no other theater in this area.
All that and more right here on the Arts Connection on WMFE TV.